Hilchis Malveh V'Loveh Perik Shnei Moser. Ein nefroim and hayorshim elim kein hoyu gedolim. Even though l'chir you have a shibur on the karka, but nevertheless the din is that you can't be nifra from the yorish unless they're gedolim. Al yorshim ktanim ein nefroim b'hem shtar chayv. There was a takon l'tevis aktanim. Since they're defenseless, they don't really know anything. So therefore Chazal instituted that you shouldn't be goiva until they become gedolim. Afilo hoye be'kol tnai shebe'elim. Whereas the shtar was written in a way that the loiva has no schus anamonis against the shtar. It said clearly that he has no nemonis to say parite, he has no nemonis, even if the loiva has a shaver. Nevertheless, Malveh Klum, when you come into Yisem Muktanim, you shouldn't go and take from the Malveh Klum, because there's always a chshash, Shema, Yeshlem, Raya, Sheshevim, and Misashtar. So this is the din that Ein Nefroim min Yorshim Ktanim. You're not allowed to go ahead and be mon from Yorshim Ktanim. Now the Maggid Mishnah said, we learned before that a Milval Pez also gave him an Yorshim. Because there's a shibud deraisa, shibud deraisa. Sometimes there is a shibud. So from lekuches by Milval Pez, you're not gave because of takon of the lekuches, because the lekuches didn't know about it. Masha'ink and the Yorshim is not shaychas takonas hayorshim, because lepel there was a shibud and they were yarshid. So therefore you could mon from a yorish with a milval peh. But b'medvar mamurim, only in a tzir when there's no svarat, there's no taina. The leva didn't have a taina parati. Whereas if there's no chshasha parati, so then you could mon also from the yorshim with a milval peh. But let's say if it's tamazeh, he has a milval peh, and a malvus chaver be'edim, ain't tzarech l'para be'edim, so the leva could have tained parati, so the melatanin will yasmi also parati. That's the pashas advar. Now, when is there a case where there's no tained parati? So the Rambam gives three cases. A case where it was teizmane, or a case that he was mitzvah lifnei misasei, that he owes this person money, or that he was mess in a nidui for not paying the money. In these three cases, we say that we nemon that the leva didn't pay, and then you could go ahead and mon from the Yisem. So on that, the Maggid Mishnah says over here in Shittas HaRambam that in these three cases where you're goiver even by a milval peh, so then you would be goiver even from Yorshim Ktanim. Not everyone agrees to this Maggid Mishnah, but this is what the Maggid Mishnah says in Rambam. In other words, Nachamal. We're saying a rule that if a person comes with a shtar to Yisemim, and if they would be Gdoilim, you would be able to take from them. Masha'en kein, if you're the Ktanim, you don't take from them. But Medvar Mamurim, when we're dealing with a type of situation where if it would be a milval peh, you wouldn't be able to take from them because there would be a certain kshasha parati. Masha'enkin, if we're dealing with a matzav, where if it would have been a milval peh, you also would have been able to give from them because it's one of those three cases. So then if it's a milval peh, or certainly if it's a shtar, so then you gave it even from Yorshim Ktanim. That's what the Maggid Mishnah says. That's Shach says. Halachi Gimel. Hoysa hamilva ribe shel goy. In other words, the Yisemim owed to a goy money. The father borrowed money. The father borrowed money from a goy, and he was paying ribis on that loan. And now the malva is coming and money. The malva, which is a goy, is coming and money from the Yisemim Ktanim, and we're talking about the din of Yisrael. So the din is hoya milva ribis shel goy sharei ribis echel is bin echseim. So there's a concern over here because if you're going to postpone this loan until the Yisem are going to become Gdelim, so the loan will accumulate. All the ribas will keep accumulating. So Memela is, so over here, since it's L'Tevas HaYisemim, that they should pay up the loan and not be Mamshech in the Chiyuv of ribas, so therefore is Mamidin Lam Apotrupas, you set up an Apotrupas for the Yisem, that this Apotrupas should tie on the behalf of the Yisemim, then is Kokim Bezin L'Nechseim, then Bezin gets involved in their Nechosim. In other words, if the Apotrupas can't find a schus, so we are in Niskokim L'Nechseim, Umeichen U'Peiv Nachif. So L'Tevas, Ribas Echel Behem, so then you are able to mon even from Yisem Ktan. V'chein, Isha Shetavuk Subasa, another din, a woman that's being Teveya her Ksuva, Ben Almone Ben Grusha, is over here also Mamidin Lem Apotrupis, V'Niskokin. Why? Mishum Cheino Isha. Now, over here, in the previous case by the Ribis, it was L'Tevas HaYisem, because we didn't want that it should accumulate the Ribis. Over here, it's L'Tevas HaIsha. Chazal wanted that the Isha should have money. She's divorced or she's an Almana and she wants to get married. And if she'll have money, it'll be easier for her to get married. So therefore, Mishum Cheino Isha, Kadesh Yelaklum, she should have something. Shetinase Be'la Acher, she should be able to get married. So L'Tevas HaIsha, Chazal Kila waived the institute of the Yinal Ramon from Yisem Muktanim. But over here, since it's l'tzerich ha'isha, so Mela they were mavata, so to speak, on this takana of ein giving you something from the same muktanim, and they take from the same muktanim. Lefichach. So since the whole reason that you're allowed a mon is because of the chen of the isha, she should be able to get married. If she already got married, now she's coming to mon the ksuba is eines kokelat. She yigdul ha'yisemim. Shari elam mezenis v'arei nisas. In other words, she anyways doesn't have mezenis. And memela, so it's not really l'toivas ha'yisemim. There's no toivas ha'yisemim by the fact that they're going to pay her off because she has no mezenis anyways. And v'harei nisas. Now the din is nesenis hazeh. The din is that when a woman becomes an almana, so part of the tnoya ksuba is that she should ati yasvi bebeisi umitzim and chosai kol yemei megrav mulusayich. While she's an almana, she could go ahead and continue eating from the money of the yisem. She'd go ahead and eating from money from the yisem. So memela b'emes and gemara there's a machlekes why you're able to collect from nichsi yisem tanim l'tzerech haksuba. One mandama holds this mishum chen. As we said before, that's in order for the Tevas Isha, it's not for the Tevas HaYisem, it's the Tevas Isha, that the Isha should be able to get married. The other Mandamer holds that it's Mitzvah Tevas HaYisem, because until you give her a ksuba, so if she can't man her ksuba, so mainly you have to feed her. If she's going to go ahead and collect her ksuba, so from there on, the nichse of the husband, which are now Eitzel HaYisemim, they don't have to feed her anymore. So Memele, it's a gain for the Yisem, just like we said by Ribus Echelesbem. So Memele, the Yisem are gaining, and therefore you go ahead and you take from the same Ktanim. So over here also, it's Echelesbem because she's eating from the Nechasim. Atzi Yasver Bebesi, so she's eating from the Nechasim. Masha'enkin, if you're going to pay her off the Ksuba, so then she's not going to eat from the Yisem. Now in this case over here, where she got married, there's both things there isn't. Aside, there isn't the Svara of chen, because she already got married, and there's also no tevas hayisemim because lepeil the yisemim aren't anyways feeding her anymore. Because once she got married, there's no chiyuv to feed her. So therefore, when she gets married, it's a davar apashut that at that point in time you could not take any more from the yisemim ktanim. Now here the Rambam. So originally the Rambam be'emes didn't mention anything about mezonis. Originally the Rambam said that the reason why they instituted that you should give the ksuba to the isha is because of chen, and therefore the Rambam said really that this didn't apply side to almona and side to a grusha. Now by a grusha, there's no Indian of mezenis, so mainly the only reason to give to a grusha is mitzad chen. Mashenkim and almona, there could be both reasons. By almona, it could be both reasons. So when the Rambam said the din, he said the pashtus, you give it to a isha, saya almona, saya grusha, and the pashtus was the reason of chen. Then the Rambam says that lepel, if she already got married, so then there's no Indian of chen anymore because she got married. And then all of a sudden the Rambam also mentions that there's also no Indian of mezenis. In other words, if someone has a svara of mezenis, there's no Indian of mezenis. Now here the Rambam will bring the svara that the reason is taka mezenis and not chen. Now hoiru mitzvahs hagoyim she'im hoyu ha'nechosim keneged aksuba bulvad. In other words, there was only nechosim keneged aksuba, the amount that the ksuba is worth. Is oi them, or it's less than what the ksuba is worth, is eines kokenla. Why? Shari enkan schusli yisemim. So in other words, this shita holds that the reason why you give to the isha is not because of chen, but rather because of mezenis. So what pshat? In other words, they have a certain amount of money, and now let's say they have $1,000, and now the ksuba is worth $200, and now the viola she's eating. So if you're going to pay her up, so b'meila, if you're going to pay her up, so all you do is give her $200 and that's it. Masha'inkin, if the viola she's going to eat a year, 2 years, 3 years. So then she's going to eat for the few years, and plus she's going to get the $200. So it's going to cost the Yisayim more. So Mela, so the Tevas, how Yisayim, it's kedai to pay the ksuba right away. Mela, she won't eat. But Medvar Mamur, if you have $1,000, but if you only have $200 or you only have less, so now the woman is coming and saying she wants her $200. So if it's the reason why you're willing to pay the Isha is l'tevas hayisemim, that they shouldn't end up paying her more, it's not really l'tevas hayisemim in a case where they only have kedei aksuba or less. Because lepel, the most she's going to take is what they have. She doesn't. They don't owe her anything. And when they're dealing with ribis l'marshal, so you're going to have to take whatever money the person will ever get. But over here, the only thing you're going to have to pay for the ksuba is only what the yoresh yashut. So if he yarshid only the amount of money that her ksuba is worth, or less than that, so really, l'toivas hayuseimim, you're not gaining anything by paying her up. Because the rule is that Marshall normally is ein efroim and nichse yisem ktan. So l'chor over here also. Elamai, if the svara is in order for them to save on paying her mezanis, they're not going to pay more because all they have is kedei ksubasa. So if they're going to pay first mezanis, so when it's going to come later the ksuba, they're not going to have for the ksuba, or they'll have little for the ksuba. That's what I'm saying. Lachama. Halacha dalet. Hoyru mixas hagain. She'im hoyu an chosim keneged aksuba bulvad. Oy pchusim imenu. So then, ein is kokala. Why? Shari ein kan schus liyisem. Because there's no schus liyisem. Shali omru niskokin nichse yisem liyiparim ha'aksuba ela kedei shel yivchusu an chosim machmas ha'mazenis. In other words, they held that the reason wasn't mitzat chen, like the Rambam said before. The reason was in order for them not to lose out on the mezenis. V'zeis hail v'hine telas hakel is mas chus yeshli yisei maktan b'dover zeh achen niskokin lehem. And they weren't worried l'cheinu isha, and therefore, according to them, you also don't give mezenis, you don't give a ksuba to a grusha. So the Rambam mentions this shita, but the Rambam is l'chura. The pashtus of the Rambam doesn't hold like the shita. The Rambam holds like the shita before that says that the reason is mishum chen, and therefore you give it also to a grusha. And then the Rambam said that will pale by an almana that was already nisas. So there's no need for chen, no need to give it because lapel she's already nisas. And the Rambam also mentioned that even according to the tzad, that the reason is in order to save him from mezenis. Over here, there's no mezenis because since she got married, she's no longer entitled to mezenis. Halacha. Natziva hamarishin v'amar tnu mana lepleni. In other words, there was a mefurish tzavah that the Meirish said, tnu mana lepleni, etnu sada lepleni. So and now the Yisem are still Yisem mitanim. So the din is niskokin achar shamidin lehem apotrupis liten tanosam. You still have apotrupis, but nevertheless you go ahead and since there was a beferish tzavot nu manu lepleni or nu sada lepleni, so therefore you do execute this tzavah, but on the other you midin apotrupis. Maybe there's a certain schus for the yisem. However, amar tnu manazel lepleni a sada zul lepleni. So then it's noisnim vein sichel hamidam apotrupis. In other words, if you're money from money. So then, Maimed Apetrupis. Apetrupis is the one that has to give the money. In other words, there should be someone that's in charge. Masha'inkin over here, we're dealing with a particular money or particular sada. So basically, there's nothing to handle. In other words, there's a particular sada, particular money. So then you don't need Apetrupis, and you execute this deal. So again, normally you're not nifram in the same muktanim. We said before from the Magid Mishnah that in a case such a type of a chayiv, where even by a milval pay you'd be able to take it from the leva. So then you do take it from these same muktanim. And then the Rambam says, in another case, if it's a ribis shel or if it's a ksubas isha, and the Rambam paskin, the pashtus, that ksubas isha is mishum chen, so therefore apply side to almana and side to a grusha, but only on the condition that she didn't get married. If she got married, so then it doesn't apply. And then there's a din. If it was Siva Hamirishon, so then you're Mamidon Apetrupis. If it was Siva Stam, and if it was Siva Almona Zu or Asada Zu, so then you give it away without Mamidon Lam Apetrupis. Halacha Vav. Nimtzas Karka She'en Shalehem, which means Toan Atein, Shehi Gezel Biad Mirishon. So someone comes along and says, you're sitting on a piece of karka, which you think you yashin from your father, but Be'emes, it wasn't ever your father's. Your father stole it from me. It was Gezel Biad Mirishon. That's the time of the tain. So then is niskokelim. So then you are niskak. Mamidin lampetrupas litain v'lodim. So in other words, if someone is tining that the karka that they're sitting on is gzela, so then you do maimed apetrupas and you take it away from the yisayim if the apetrupas loses. In other words, if you're tining, he owes you money. So that's it. So the ain't niskokelim. Mashayin over here is tining that this item is not his. It was never his. It's gezel. So then niskokelim. And if they found that taka b'gzula, says then you return it to the baila. V'chein cotton shetakav b'avodav, a cotton that was takav b'avodav v'yorad l'teich stei chaveri v'kofsha. So we know for a fact that the cotton goes into someone's field and it grabs it and he's tining it's his field. It's ein neimrim namten le'achi yagdol. Knows since he's tining it's his field, so Kili is a mugzik in the field, and let's wait till he becomes a gadol to take it away from him. No, el mitzin esim yadi, you immediately take it away from him. Well, k'shi yagdol yesh le'edim is yavi edim. When he becomes older, and if he has edim is yavi edim, then he brings edim. Halacha zayin Now we learned that if someone tines that the karka that the Yisraelim are sitting on, which they think the yashin from their father was really gozel, so then we have an apotropos. Now fakert karka she becheskes ktan, ktanim which is becheskes ktanim, ubo acher v'toan shehi lekucha le mi merishon. That he's not tining that the Merishon stole it from them, but rather he's tining that he bought it from Merishon. And he has Edim to prove that he is really the buyer, even if he doesn't have a star, but nevertheless he has Edim to prove that he had Chazak on it of Sholishonim. So the din is Ein Mitzian Esum Niyodon Achi Yagdilu. And why? Because Ein Mekabin Edim Shlei B'fnei Baldin. And V'hakotten Kilo Ein Eimet Kamu Choshev. If he would have a star, if he has a star, like the Rambam says, so the Mela, so he has a star. It's not like you have to bring Edim b'fnei Baldin. He has Avalam Hoitzi star Shilkuche b'yodei. So then Arizim Mekayim is a star. Umitzin Eisim b'yodem Achash Mamidin Lam Apotropos. Is Nochamo. When a person comes along in Tainas that the karka that the Yisraelim are sitting on is really stolen by Meirishon, so then is Mamidin Lam Apotropos, and if he has Edim, you bring Edim, and to prove that it's taka a stolen piece of karka, and he takes the karka back. Now, if it's fakert, he's coming along and tining that he bought this karka from their father. So as I say, if he has a star to say that he had brought the karka, so he presents the star, he has to be makayim the star, and once he's makayim the star, so it's also mamidin lam apotropos, to have a person to speak on their behalf, and if Lepel presents a star, so we take it from him, even their ktanim. Masha'en Ken, if he doesn't have a star, he just has Cheskas Gimel Shanim, so now he's going to have to bring Edim to prove the Cheskas Gimel Shanim, so the din is you can't bring Edim Shlei B'Fanov, and Ktanim have a din of Shlei B'Fanov, so therefore you can't go ahead and take this karka based on Cheskas Shel Shanim until these Yisayim become Gdel. Halacha Ches. Ksheniskokin Bezen L'Nichse Yisayim Limkir is lav davki Yisayim Ktanim. When the Bezen gets involved to go ahead and sell Nichse Yisayim, is shomin as hakarka. So first they assess the karka and knows themselves to know what's the value of the karka. V'acharka they want that maybe someone will offer more for the karka than the basic value. V'acharkach machrizn la either shleishim yem ritzufim, either 30 days, 30 consecutive days, a shishim yem sheni v'chamishi. You know, it's the Mondays and Thursdays, which this vice is more people, because that's when the Bezdin was open, so there would be more people to listen to these achrozes. So therefore, really, in 60 days, there's 18 days of Sheni V'Chamishi. So Vais's 18 days of Sheni V'Chamishi is worth as much as 30 days. But I'll call upon either 30 days, consecutive days, or Shishim Yem 60 days, but only on Mondays and Thursdays. Umachrizin Babekur Be'erev, the Achrazah would be in the morning and at night. To say is B'shas Achnosis Pe'elim, B'shas Atzoyes Pe'elim, when the Pe'elim are coming back from work, or when the Pe'elim are going to work. And the chol misheretzel liknes, so therefore he has that option. He's taking the pelim to work. He's bringing them from work. Is yelech hapelim levakerle. He's going to come and bring the pelim to go inspect the field to decide whether or not how much this field is really worth and how much they're willing to pay for it. Ube'ez shemachrizim, when they announce how much they want, they're willing to sell the field, and anyone that wants to come and offer something for the field, so they should come. Is mesayim and asad b'mitzareh, so they say the exact boundaries of the field. Umedian kamehi yofa, and they're writing, and they note they also notify. Knows what's the basic asking price. Knows how much it was assessed for. Ubekamehi shuma, and how much is someone willing to pay for it. Umipnema reitzim lemechra, and how much. What's the reason why they want to sell it? Because there would be people that are interested in buying it to help a balchev or to help a ksubasisha. So in other words, they're willing to pay more for the field because they know that this money is going to be going also towards this good cause of paying a balchev or ksubasisha. So B'kitzur, when they make the achrazah, they announce which field we're talking about, and we're talking about what the value of the field. Kame Yofa could be. It means Kame Yofa knows the special qualities of the field, ubekame hishuma, and how much it was assessed for, and then people come and they offer what they offer, and obviously they give it to the highest bidder. Halacha tes. Kshekoisen hadrachta al nichse yisem. Now hadrachta is miloshen lahadrich, you're being madrich, the malveh, to go to a specific field and to mun from him. That's like the beginning of the process. That's before the achrazah, before the assessment. The beginning of the process that Bezdin directs the Malveh that he could go ahead and mun from this field. Now, when they actually go and mun from this field, so then they have to write, they have to make the achrozes and the assessment, etc. That's what the Rambam is going to discuss this later in Perek Chav Beis. Now, Kshekoisen hadrachta al nichsi yisemim ben gdelim ben ktanim is koisen bo v'hikarnu shanochosim ha'elu heit shem pleini ames. First thing they have to write in this adrachta is that we came to the conclusion, we realized that this piece of karka belongs to pleini ames. The im lei kosvu kach, and if they didn't write that, is a adrachta psula. So that adrachta is psula, and then vein echlin b'peiris, then they don't. The person that buys it actually doesn't eat peiris. Afilu ma'acher shesholmo achrozes. Now later on in Perek Chav Beis, we're going to learn that lepel, once there was the shuma and the highest bidder bid for it, so it become, from when does he eat peiris? So the Rambam says over there in Perek Chav Beis, me'emasai, the person eats peiris, mishesholmo achrozes. Even though he didn't actually make a kinyan in the field, but since lepel, he's the one that's going to get the field, it was sholmo achrozes, and memela, and now he's the highest bidder, so memela, at that point in time, the peiris become his. But medvar mamurim, that there was a proper adrachta. If there was a proper adrachta, and then there was the hachrozes, and there was sholmo hachrozes, so then the person that's going to get the field already eats the peiris. Mashengen, if there wasn't a proper adrachta, it was a adrachta psula, because it didn't say v'yikarnu that this field was shall plainly ames, so then he's not entitled to the peiris until he actually makes a kinyan. If eventually he takes the field and he makes a kinyan on the field, the peiris are his. But until he actually makes a kinyan on the field is not his. The peiris aren't his. Halacha Yud. Bezdin shemochru shalei baruch achroza. Now we're saying Bezdin is supposed to make achrozas, either shishim yem sheni v'chamishi or shleishim yem ritzufim. Lepel, if they went ahead and sold the karka that belonged to the mess that the Yorshim Yarshant, Bezdin shemochru shalei bachroza is nasa k'mishato b'dvar mishna v'choyzrin u'mechrim bachroza. So that sale is not a good sale. It's not a valid sale. Bezdin shemochru b'chlal, when Bezdin sells for the Yisemim, is achrayis ala Yisemim. If something happens to the field, and the field is taken away from the buyer because they find that it's a previous loan that was on this field, a previous chayv, so the people that have to go ahead and give achrayis for this field are the Yisemim. Halacha Yidal, for Bezdin shechrizu korol, ubodku yofi yofe, and v'diktiku b'shuma, is lepel, if they did everything right the way they were supposed to, is avo pishato, even though lepel Bezdin made a mistake, umachru shav emana b'masayim, a masayim b'mana, is harei michron kaim. So if it's mana b'masayim, it's hard to understand. What's the chiddush? Mana b'masayim is l'chura l'tevas, l'tevas how you say, and karka is ein le'ino. Mashenga the chiddush, the ikar chiddush l'chura is the masayim b'mana. They're taking something that was worth 200 for the Yisemim, and they sold it for a mana, and nevertheless michron kaim.